We starting a new series up on this channel, up on the live channel. We calling it the Fraud Trials. Very similar to the trials that CJ the Champ does on his channel. We are going to be looking at any type of character through anything. It could be cartoons, animations, anime, movies, live action stuff. We go sports. We gonna be going through all that, and we are going to confirm whether or not they are a fraud. We are going to start with one that actually got us very entangled on stream a week ago. I don't remember who brought this up. If you are in here, shout outs to you. You brought this up last week. This gave me this idea. We gonna be talking about, is Ozai a fraud? I thought it was a very interesting conversation. Now, I'm going to bring up a bunch of evidence to plead my case. And I will be bouncing back and forth in the chat with you. I will also be going back and forth with the Discord. I don't know if we're going to do Discord today. But for every single trial, I will be going back and forth with Discord. Who got anyone who want to say anything about the character that we're going to be talking about whenever we do. So if we're talking about Ozai today, I'll be hopping into the Discord VC. Y'all can let me know if you agree, disagree, this, that, the third. Let me I'm putting the Discord link in the Twitch chat right now. It's going to be up on the pinned if you want to tap in. With is Ozai a fraud? I'm actually going to defend Ozai. For our first one, I'm actually defend Ozai. I do not think Ozai's a fraud. However, I had very strong pushback of people saying that he was. I do not think so. However, there was a lot of evidence that people were showing me. And there was a lot of advocators of people saying that Ozai was a fraud. And we're going to get into it right now. I got 4 pieces of evidence showing up right now. Let me see. Let me get out of this page real quick. Let me show y'all. So we got 4 clips right here to see whether or not Ozai really is a fraud. We can start it off with number 1, because all these clips kind of work in tangent to each other, because they're all kind of connected by one thing. Watch this, right? We can go start with number 1. This is Ozai after getting powered by Sozin's comment. You know what I'm saying? He got the biggest buff to ever touch the verse. This got to be the biggest buff to ever touch the verse. He was already the strongest bender on the planet. And he just got a... How many times does a Sozin comment multiply their power, chat? By like 2? It was something insane. They were powered up by something. This is full power, maxed out Ozai. This is a villain that was gassed up throughout the entire series. Several times. Makes him several times stronger, someone just said in the chat. 10 times power boost. 10 is crazy. 10 is insane. I didn't know it was 10. 10 is absurd. So he was 10 times stronger than usual, right? Going up against the Avatar, going up against Aang. Number 1, people were saying that it was he's a fraud, number 1, because he lost to a 12-year-old. I'm going to defend him and say that 12-year-old was the Avatar. It did not matter that Aang was 12 years old. He was going against the Avatar. The Avatar is that strong. The Avatar, even if he was fresh out the womb, he should be the strongest in the verse. The Avatar is literally Gojo. That's like you getting mad that sorcerers that were like 80 years old were going into hiding when Gojo was born. Nigga, that's Gojo. Nigga, this the Avatar. You know what I'm saying? I digress. Let's go. People were mainly coming at me for this scene when I was defending Ozai. They were saying, if Aang let this go right here, the fight would have been over. Now, do y'all think if Aang shot this back at Ozai, the fight would have been over? I personally think it would have. And there's another example where I do not think it would have ended the fight right then and there. But we can keep going. A lot of y'all are saying yes in the chat. A lot of y'all are saying yes, 1,000,000%. A lot of y'all saying indeed. Okay. I do also agree. I do think had Ozai ate that lightning blast, that fight would have been over. The fight would have been over. And people were calling him a fraud for this. If you think he's a fraud for like unleashing his strongest attack and it getting deflected back at him and he would have lost, I wouldn't call you fraudulent for that. Personally, I wouldn't call you fraudulent for that, but we'll keep going. We'll keep moving on. Right? There's this clip right here where this is the main point of contention people were saying, where they were saying Ozai was a fraud. They were saying Ozai was the strongest bender, gassed up throughout the entire series. However, he could have lost against two of the members on Team Avatar, being Zuko and Aang. Zuko being, 16 years old, Aang being 12. They were saying Ozai's a fraud. How are you that gassed up in the verse when you have two people on the main cast that could have killed you at any moment? And some people were also saying that Azula was stronger than Ozai. That I completely disagree with. I do think Azula was strong as hell. I do not think Azula was at all, at any point, stronger than Ozai. Even though Azula's emotions made her really strong, made her completely unhinged. They show that in this fight right here, where she goes up against, not this one. Wrong link. It should be this one. Yes. Even though in this fight, when she is completely unhinged, she was strong as hell. I'm pretty sure in the fight they say she's stronger or she's weaker. But either or, she busted. You're not messing with Azula. Either way, I don't think if Azula and Ozai went one-on-ones, there's no way you're convincing me Azula is beating Ozai. I refuse to believe that. I don't think that's possible. I do not. Zuko said she got weaker. Okay, so she got weaker with her emotions. She gets weaker. She does not get stronger. But I do not think Azula is stronger than Ozai. That's number one. Two, people are trying to call Ozai a fraud because of this moment. Is it here? This. Ozai shoots lightning at Zuko, right? Zuko grabs the lightning, deflects it back at him, and purposely misses. Watch this. Purposely missed him. And then laid Ozai out. Streets is saying if Zuko actually landed that hit, he would have destroyed Ozai in that fight. He could have ended the series right here, but he said it wasn't his fight. And they're calling him fraudulent for that. Now, me personally, I do not think Ozai was a fraud. I'll give you my reasoning why. Number one, even though I think Zuko definitely would have laid out Ozai here, 100%, had he shot the lightning at him. One, lightning is not always a kill shot. It is shown here and in this fight. Lightning is not always a kill shot. We can look right here. There's this moment right here where Zuko was basically whooping Azula, bro. And he was about to win that fight so easily. Had she not tried to sneak and go for Katara. If I could find that damn moment. It'd be right here. Had that not happened, I think Zuko would have easily destroyed him. Easily. Like, when I tell you with ease, destroyed him, bro. Destroyed Azula, I mean. Would have at ease destroyed Azula. But she tried to sneak him. But Zuko still survived the lightning strike. He did need healing from Katara, but he did survive. There's this right here. Aang was in another astral plane and got backshotted. This is the biggest form of caught lacking of all time. The biggest form of caught lacking. He got lightning struck in the back in another astral plane, nigga. He was cooked. And he still lived this. He was knocked out for a few days, though. No, if I'm remembering correctly, he was knocked out for a few days. Was he or was he not? He was knocked out for a minute. He was knocked out for a minute before he came back. 3 months. Damn. 3 months / 3 weeks. Y'all saying he killed him. I don't remember. I thought it was a few months. He was knocked out for a minute. He was completely backdoored. Y'all saying he died from this. and he got revived. When Katara revived him right here, this was from death? That I don't remember if that's the case. Y'all saying he completely died. He was completely dead. His consciousness was split. God damn, let me look that up. I didn't know it was that brutal. I remember he was not like that. That completely cooked him because he got backdoored. I didn't know he died. Let me see. Did Aang die in the Avatar? Let's see that. Let's see that. Let's see that. Wow. That nigga was sent straight to the lobby. That nigga was sent straight to the lobby. That nigga was sent straight to the lobby. Well, if he wasn't sent straight to the lobby, what I would have said to defend Ozai, and I'm still going to for the agenda. I believe, even though Zuko would have blicked him right here, it would have took a while for that nigga to get up. But I do not think if it was hand to hand, Zuko against Ozai, and Ozai could not use his lightning, but Zuko had both his firebending and his two swords that he pulled up with, I think it would have been a very close fight, but I still think Ozai would have won that. I still believe Ozai would have won that. And I again do not think Ozai is a fraud. Ozai literally had the entire world under his grasp for who knows how long. For who knows how long. Literally had the entire world under his hands. For who knows how long. He could run the fade with anybody on the planet. Anybody on the planet. And the only people that beat him is, again, the Avatar, who is essentially Gojo Satoru in the verse, and Zuko, who learned the most OP ability to deflect lightning. I was going to say he would still be able to tank it. Every single thing that we've seen, apparently, you do take lightning, it's going to one-shot you. So, yes, he would have lost here. But Zuko knows the most powerful ability in the verse. That is the most powerful ability in the verse. The most powerful ability in the verse. I don't think it's fair to call him a fraud when he has to fight against two people who completely negate the strongest thing ever. And even without that strongest thing ever, you take away lightning from Ozai, he's beating Zuko in a fight. The only person he can't beat is Aang. But again, Aang is like Gojo Satoru in the verse. That's my case. I do not think Ozai's a fraud. I'm seeing a lot of y'all typing in the chat. I might go back and forth with y'all. But y'all disrespecting my man's Ozai. I'm not buying it, bro. I'm not buying it, bro. Ozai was the strongest in the verse. And it took somebody who knew the strongest ability in the verse, and the strongest person in the verse, period, to take him down. That were stronger than him. That does not make him fraudulent. Because he can run it with any one of your favorite characters and he'd win. He can run it with any one of your favorite characters and he'd win. And he'd win. Let me see what some of y'all are saying. Y'all saying Ozai is not stronger than Iroh was. People were saying this last time too. I don't understand where y'all coming from with that. Where is it ever stated that Iroh could have beat Ozai? I do not believe Iroh in his prime would have beat Ozai. I think that's cap. Azula carried his own war. Who's a war general that actually goes to fight the war? I want you to name one war. If America went to war right now and we won said war, they would say the president won the war. Let's say we went to war right now and we won the war, right? They would say President Trump won the war. Did President Trump actually go out in the front lines, yes or no? No! Would that make the president a fraud for winning the war? No! That's literally how war works. Why is that a statement y'all keep saying? Y'all said that last time too. Why is that a statement that keeps being said? He needed Sozin's comment to get him out them fields. Bro, that's like the Saiyans using the Great Ape transformation to take over their planets. Does that make the Saiyan race fraudulent? I do not think so. They are using the abilities that the verse gave them to beat everybody else. I'm telling you that right now. In anime, Ozai does not really have any feats besides getting glazed by some fandoms. You mean in the animation, not the anime. But, I mean, fair. Since when was age a handicap? Red from Pokemon was 10 years old when he started. Look at what he did to his own verse. Yo, isn't Red one of the top Pokemon trainers at 10 years old? You calling everybody in Pokemon fraudulent? Is that what we doing right now? And again, I don't think it's fair. I think if you were to put age, you could use age to call somebody fraudulent. I say this a lot. Me personally, I would call Kenpachi fraudulent at least in his first fight. Because they were gassing up Kenpachi and saying he's a warrior who did not lose in 1,500 years. And you lost to a nigga that isn't even graduated out of high school. That was Ichigo's second serious fight. And he beat Kenpachi. I don't care how nerfed Kenpachi was. Kenpachi should not have lost that fight. I don't care how nerfed that nigga was. You played 1,500 battles. You've been fighting for 1,500 years, not even battles. You fought for 1,500 years, and you lost to somebody only 2 years. This is the second serious fight in the series, and he lost. That's where you could use age. That's where you could use age, because I don't care how you try to spin it. I don't care how nerfed you said he was. Kenpachi should not have lost that fight because he had some degree of power. Clearly. I think this is a lot different. I think the Avatar literally from birth should be the strongest in the verse, like Gojo Satoru. Like Gojo at like 6 years old was able to literally solo everyone on the planet. And I think that's the exact same for the Avatar. If you were an Avatar and you had all the abilities from birth, you should be able to solo damn near the entire planet. That's why everybody be hating on Korra. Korra was born with what, 3? Was it 3 bendings? She was born with 3 bendings. And couldn't win any fights. You were someone who was supposed to be the Gojo of the verse and you could not win a single fight. That's why we call Katara a fraud. So with that same logic, you cannot yell at someone like Ozai for losing. And again, this is not an Avatar world that's as advanced as Legend of Korra's. Legend of Korra, she was going against demons, and we still call her a fraud. We could do her next, dude. They were calling her a fraud, dude. You know the demons that she was going up against. You know the people that she was going up to fight. And we are so quick to call Katara a fraud. So quick. So quick. You cannot call her a fraud because she lost when she shouldn't be losing. We all agree that she should not be losing them fights, and we call her a fraud because of that. Aang is winning his fights, and we're calling people who he fights frauds. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. And again, Zuko just has the most powerful ability to deflect the strongest attack in the verse. As we just seen, every clip I showed you, if you were to get hit by lightning, you were getting one shot. In the Aang one, I just learned today that nigga died. I completely forgot about that detail. He died. You cannot call Ozai a fraud. He's going up against someone who could literally negate and push back the strongest ability he has. In my opinion. That's my defense. I do not think he's a fraud. I think the entire series, they say that he is the strongest in the verse, although he does not have any feats in the show, and I do not know much about the comics or the books. He is the strongest in the verse. I think every attempt, whether it's through flashbacks or people talking about him, it shows that he is still the strongest in the verse. That's why they did all that planning. They made sure that they tried to So this comment was such a big deal because like you're making the strongest person in the verse that much stronger. People were that scared of Ozai because Azula's like top 5 on the planet, and she's not even Ozai level. So imagine what Ozai was. I don't think he's a fraud. He doesn't have enough feats. I'll give you that, but I do not think he's a fraud. I would not call him fraudulent. Let's see what y'all say in the chat. Y'all saying he sat in his throne and aura farmed until his final fight. Does that make him fraudulent, though? You're trolling if you think Ozai's not a fraud. I would not call him a fraud. I would not call him a fraud. I don't think they showed enough of him. I wouldn't call him a fraud, though. Definitely would not. Let's see what y'all got to say. We're going to have to shoot up a poll for this. We're going to have to shoot up a poll for this one. Let's be real. Aang versus the Demons and Legend of Korra is getting cooked. Do y'all think if Aang fought against people in Korra, he'd get cooked? He probably would. Like, what I would compare that to is like if I was to do this in NBA terms, something like that. Or I'll do NBA terms. So a lot of people that do like the MJ versus LeBron debate, they'll be like, oh, Michael Jordan went against weaker competition. Michael Jordan was just so much better than everybody else in the league. He was able to get that 6th straight while LeBron was playing against much better players. I think you could say the same for Aang and Katara. Now, Katara is more fraudulent than someone like LeBron, but if you are LeBron, if you don't like LeBron, you could say that LeBron is as fraudulent as well. But I think Aang is MJ in terms of there was not anybody on the planet that really could have F with him when he actually became his potential. There was nobody in Avatar The Last Airbender that if Aang knew everything could have beat him in a fight besides maybe Tophs. I could maybe give it to Tophs. But like that's it. Or Tophs. Sorry. Maybe give it to her. But like even that is like that is the stretch of all stretches. Katara had to go against, bro, niggas was knowing blood bending. People were doing metal bending plus earth bending plus all. Like they were doing some crazy stuff in Katara's verse, bro. Some crazy stuff. Now, Katara, the thing that's different with her, even with all that crazy stuff, or Korra, not Katara, sorry, Korra. I meant Korra. The thing about Korra, she was able, there's been a lot of chances in those fights where she could have very easily won those. She would just sell or fumble the bag. But I don't know how well Aang would have done in Legend of Korra. Sorry, I meant Korra. For all the time I said Katara, I meant Korra. I'm so sorry. I forget. I meant Korra. That's my bad. But let's keep reading through. Let's see what some of y'all gotta say. I'm seeing a lot of y'all niggas saying Ozai a fraud. Yeah, we got that poll up. Whoever put that poll up, let me know. Alright, we got yes, no, partially. If you're on the Twitch, we got the poll up right now. Is Ozai a fraud, yes or no? Adult Aang, definitely not, but Kid Aang getting butt freaked. Yeah, nah, Adult Aang, I think could hang. He could definitely hang in Legend of Korra, but I don't think Kid Aang would have got smoked. Kid Aang, I'm sorry, he would have got smoked. He probably would have got smoked. Ozai ain't no fraud, I agree. Ozai ain't no fraud. Muzai is less of a fraud than Ozai. I wouldn't call it that. I think Muzan had so much more to show. Muzan had so much more to show. So much more to show. And he just didn't. He would just sell at every point. And then the people that he would anoint to go do what they needed to do would sell. I would go as far as to say Azula, like Ozai and Muzan are kind of the same, right? Where they would kind of sit in their castle, their aura farm. They would send people to do their dirty work. Azula getting sent out by Ozai did 30 times more than anybody Muzan sent. You cannot argue me in the chat. You kid, and Demon Slayer's 30 times longer than Avatar, bro. You cannot name me not one nigga Muzan sent that did anything even half as much as Azula. Cannot tell me. Azula done took over Bog Sensei herself, nigga. Herself. Nobody in Demon Slayer that was sent by Muzan did that, bro. There's not even a middle school, bro. They are frauds. You cannot put Muzan and Ozai and say, I will never allow you to do that, bro. You said Muzan is less of a fraud than Ozai. I made a 40-minute video on that nigga Muzan for a reason, bro. Hell no. No. All right, some of y'all are saying yes. We got 16 on yes, 13 on no, 8 on partially. We got a pretty split poll. I'm not gonna lie. We got a really split poll. An extremely split poll. I hope some of y'all joined the Discord. I might hop into the. We gonna hop into the VC. I'm gonna hear like 5 or 6 of y'all's opinions. See what y'all gotta say. Whether you are in defense or against Ozai being a fraud. Me personally, again, I don't think he is. I really don't think he is. Akaza was putting in work. What did Akaza do? He only killed Rengoku. And even Muzan got mad at him. He's like, you came to me to say you're coming. You think I'm gonna glaze you because you killed one nigga? Like they were like, bro, they were selling. Like y'all are trying to compare Ozai to someone who is even more fraudulent. Even Ozai's army is not as fraudulent. Ozai has the reason to sit in his castle and ore farm. Muzan had no reason, because everyone he was sending out was failing at his job. Everyone he was sending. Everybody he sent. You cannot name me one successful thing anybody Muzan sent out did anything. Like, they didn't do anything. The whole series. He was a Saturday night cartoon villain, bro. The compromise is that Ozai is top 5, not the guaranteed top 1. That is true. Muzan was the guaranteed top 1. But again, I still don't think it's close. I still think Muzan is 1,000 times, 1,000 times, trillion times. I would even say like quadruple times more fraudulent. Trillion times, bro. Like nah, bro. Nah, like I don't even think it's close, bro. Billion times more. Billion times more. Let's see that poll now. 17 on yes, 13 on no, and then 8 on partially. God damn. Let me load up that Discord. Let's load up that Discord. You gonna have to see what some of y'all gotta say. As usual, I'll give y'all 2 minutes. I'm gonna get like three or 4 people. Give you like 2 minutes. You gotta be for or against. And then we'll wrap this up. Let me get my phone with a timer on it. Alright, you got a minute 30. Are you for or against?
Alright. I am against Ozai.
Damn.
Or I am for Ozai being a fraud.
You're for Ozai being a fraud? Alright, plead your case. Timer starts right now.
My case is that despite all the things you were saying, if Ozai is truly top 1 in the verse, then truly he should have a counter, or should have the reflexes to counter being countered, in the sense of having his lightning redirected both times. Because first time, Zuko missed on purpose. If he's truly top 1 in the verse, he would have the same ability to redirect lightning, as well as he has the ability to cast it. How true? Iroh learned how to use redirection from the waterbenders, but even so, if he's able to do lightning at all, he should be able to do that.
Now,
the second time as well.
I'll let you keep going. I'll just keep going. And I'll say my defense after. Go ahead.
Got be that. Second time against Aang. Bro was a literal deer in headlights. He did not even think of, I bet you he did not even think of redirecting that lightning. Aang slowly pointed that shit to him. He just stood there like a deer in headlights. Like he was like, oh shit, he caught me. Head ass. I'm like, bro, you have a chance to literally prepare yourself to redirect it. What are you doing? So I'm gonna say this: he was on some. He is strong as hell, but he was on some fraudulent activities.
You got that perfect too. Timer just ended. Hey, beautiful case. I'm gonna put you back in the stage right now. I appreciate you, and I'm gonna counter your claims.
Hold up.
From right here. What's good?
I got you. But I just want to say this, bro. I will be ready for when you ever do a Korra fraudulent case. I have so many files ready for that.
Hey, say that. That might be in the next. That might be the next 3. Y'all was all talking about Korra. We might get that next real soon. We're gonna be doing this like weekly, so it'll be real soon, bro. I appreciate you, gang. We gonna get that Korra one out. Now, I do like what he said. If you do know that ability, you should be able to recounter it back. I do have a counter for that though. 1, if I'm not wrong, Iroh is the one who learned that. Yes or no? Am I mistaken? Iroh did create it. He created the whole ability. Yes? No? Maybe so? If I'm not wrong, Iroh created the whole ability of redirecting lightning. And he, like he said, he learned it from water bending. I think Ozai not learning how to redirect lightning is a flaw in his character. It is a flaw in his character, and that's because he's a villain. Ozai would not go to another tribe and learn something. That's an Iroh thing. That's why Iroh's a good nigga. Iroh was only able to unlock the full potential of firebending because he went to other tribes to learn. That's why Ozai don't know that. That's why Ozai don't know that. Maybe Ozai just a bum. See, now you're trolling. Now you robbing the meat. Now you riding the meat. See, now you swallowing. See, get the balls out your mouth, my nigga. Like, relax. Yes, that is a bad trait out of Ozai. That's a bad trait. It's a bad trait. But I do not think that qualifies him being a fraud. Because again, he would. That's not something he would do. He only learned it because of Iroh. Iroh just didn't learn. He didn't teach him back the redirection back. But I think that is a inherent flaw in his character, and it makes sense for someone like him to not learn how to redirect lightning back. Now, there's something else that he said, because there was those 2 points. It was that and the deer in headlights. now, the deer in headlights thing. I don't know if he should he have been able to react to the lightning? I don't think so. How fast is the lightning coming out? It's pretty. He should be able to react, no? Because Zuko did jump in front of one. He should be able to. What y'all thinking? Let's pull that fight up again, huh? Let's pull that fight up again, chat. And y'all let me know. You see, new Zeph drop, by the way. New Zeph drop. We're gonna be covering Scream 4 at the end of this month, beginning of March. So keep an eye out. We're running it back on Scream. Ozai versus Aang. And then Ozai versus Zuko. It'd be right here. Now, this is a slowed down moment, to be fair. This is a slowed down moment. And he does redirect the blast. And lightning does come out fast enough to react. I mean to look up Azula versus Zuko. And yeah, I mean to look up this fight. Because Zuko is able, when Azula does shoot out the lightning, he is able to jump across the map to jump in front of the lightning. Let me look. He's able to jump across the map to jump in front of it. So, Ozai should be able to react. He's not wrong. Ozai should be able to react to that. Now, if Aang actually shot it, again, this is a slowed down moment. If Aang actually shot this back, do you think Ozai would have stood there? I don't think so. Because, again, we've seen Zuko from a much farther distance run across the field and jump in front of the lightning. I think if you're against a gap like this is a pretty far gap between Aang and Zuko. This was a Aang and Zuko, Aang and Ozai. It's a pretty far gap. I think Ozai should have been able to move out the way. That's not a fair point. I don't think that's a fair point. Again, this is a very slowed down moment. This kind of just to show that his face was shocked. And Aang was kind of just like imagining like he was kind of killing someone. He was dealing with the morality of killing somebody. I wouldn't say he would have stood there staring like these. lost. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that would have happened. I don't think that would have happened. I do not think that would have happened. All right, let's go. We'll grab one more person, and then we'll call it. I'll get the next one in line. Yep.
Um, is it heavy or like
Yep,
getting
I
like
can
static or
indeed hear
anything?
you, bro. All right, are you for or against
Yeah.
Ozai?
How much time I got?
You got a minute 30.
That's I'm gonna be against Ozai.
Oh, so
I'm
you
gonna say
calling him
yeah,
a
he is a
fraud.
fraud.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, I'm starting the timer on you. Ready, set, go.
So I'm gonna use my English degree for this, or at least my pursuit of an English degree.
Damn, okay.
And one of the big themes of Avatar, one of the big themes of Avatar is fighting back against nationalism and fighting back against fascism. And so when we see throughout the series, the Fire Nation is this incredibly overwhelming and overpowering force that's able to beat all these other nations, but they're only able to do so because they have this absolute power. And so when it comes to Ozai, he's that representation of that power. However, whenever we see the Fire Nation has to fight somebody of equal or greater strength, the Fire Nation always gets their ass handed to them. And so when it comes to Ozai, he's indicative of that because he's all power without any of the understandings of culture, different cultures, different techniques, different art. He's the embodiment of the Ubermensch of the fascists. He has all this power, but he doesn't have any understanding because he has no understanding. It's how Aang is able to beat him because Aang takes in all these different cultures. He takes in these different people from different walks of life and is able to take their techniques and is able to incorporate it into his own being style and able to beat them. And so when Aang fights Ozai, the reason why Ozai is presented as this great and powerful force who's able to burn down the entire force because that's what fascism and what nationalism is. He's this embodiment of absolute power. But when it comes down to being a power, to actually having any kind of strength or any kind of real power, he can't because it's all for show. It's all to put it in layman's terms, it's all for the fashion. He has his power for the fashion. So Aang is able to best him because he has all these different understandings of different cultures and he's able to beat Ozai. Ozai is a fraud because he has nothing. He has no feats. He has no standards. He's never fought anybody. He couldn't beat his father. He couldn't beat Ozai. He couldn't beat anybody. And as a result of that, he is a fraud. Wait, shit, I said Ozai. I meant Iroh. My bad. My bad.
No. I get where you're
All right,
coming
I'm gonna
from
end
though.
it.
That is kind of what I was not to the level of depth that you went, but that's what I was saying. Where I was saying where Ozai not learning from other tribes is a reason why he was not able to redirect the lightning. Like that is a character flaw that I think was intrinsically planned for in his design. Like that's not something he would have done. So I do agree with your point. I do not think that's enough to make him a fraud. But I do agree with your point because it is that is I do think that is actually quite thematic with what they're trying to go for. Do you have any one thing before I will ask before I let you go? You did say that when it comes to like fascism and stuff like that, when they go against other strong nations, they do tend to lose. Do you have any proof of when a Fire Nation went against somebody quite as strong as them, they lost? Because there is quite a bit of examples where they went against people that were of similar strength and they won. The end of season 2, I would say Team Avatar against Azula and Zuko. It was a pretty lot. It was kind of lopsided because Katara was like, what was she doing there? Katara was not that strong. If Aang was able to get into Avatar, say he would have whooped them all, but they still lost. I mean, they still won that quite easily. Do you have any examples that show that the Fire Nation were not as strong when they went against somebody around the same strength, or you do not?
I want to say for that one, I want to say even in that fight, we saw that Aang was going to beat them if it didn't come down to Azula using a dirty trick in order to kill Aang. Like whenever fascists or whoever you want to say are put on an equal footing, either they lose or they have to use a dirty tactic in order to get a victory. And so as a result, you can't really say that they're stronger because at the end of the day, they if they were to fight legitimately, they would lose. And then I could argue that with the conquest of Bossing Say with General Iroh, I could argue that they were holding it. Iroh was pressing it, but they were able to defend their city. Even though Iroh did have the loosest son, which I think did help contribute to um the Earth Kingdom managing to hold out in the end. I do think that ultimately they would have been able to hold it, but whether or not Iroh would have lost this or not.
Okay. Okay.
I do want to add just one last thing that, in terms of like techniques, not understanding art and culture, in terms of um like redirecting, not being able to redirect fire bend, not fire bend, lightning bend. We saw with Aang and Zuko with the dragons how they're able to understand the cultural impact as well as the techniques that came with it. Ozai doesn't have that understanding. He has the power, but he doesn't have the understanding or the respect for the culture or how those techniques came to be.
That is fair. That is fair. All right, well, let me see your name. Someday you will reach. I can't see the rest of your name, but I appreciate you,
Museum.
Od. You had a great point.
Discord.
W for you for putting your English major up in there. So I appreciate you for tapping in.
Appreciate it.
I shall move you back, and I'll end the stage right now too. So, sadly, I think my case has lost. I think the poll won. It was 18, 13, and 8. 8 people thought it was probably he was a fraud. 13 people said he was not a fraud. 18 people said he was. And in the Discord calls, it seemed like we had 2 people that very cleanly defended that Ozai was indeed a fraud. Y'all can let me know either in the comments or in the chat if he is a fraud or not. I don't think I was convinced. I still think he's not a fraud. Ozai is a partial fraud, bare minimum. I would agree to that extent. But even then, I still would not. I don't know if I'd go as far as to call Ozai a fraud. I just think him more so is bad matchups. Because I don't think there's anything in the show. The main reason why, for me, I can't concede and say that he's a fraud is because there's nothing in the show that shows you that had he fought anybody else, he would have lost. And again, the 2 people that he did go up against were 2 of the strongest. It reminds me a lot of Jogo from Jujutsu Kaisen. Jogo, I think, probably could beat damn near anybody in Jujutsu Kaisen. Except the only times he actually had to fight was against Gojo Satoru, of all niggas, and Sukuna. Those are the 2 people he had to go up against in a fight. And that's why he got completely dogged every time we saw him fight. But he's not a fraud. Y'all saying Jogo not top 10. Y'all saying Jogo losing to Mahito. That's cap. I think Jogo would wipe the floor with Mahito. I think Jogo will wipe the floor. I think Mahito is as strong. I think Mahito is really annoying, and as strong as he is when he's able to irritate you. When he's an irritant. When he's using slimy tactics, like when he's using human bodies to sneak attacks on you. When he's literally turning your friends into whatever the hell he was turning his people into the Shibuya arc. That's when I think Mahito really be getting his upper hand. But I don't think he would have beat Jogo in a fight. Unless, like, the fight against Jogo had him evolve to that other form, like how the fight with Yuji did. Then you can make a case. But I don't think Mahito would have. But that's just me. We can say that for next time, though. But y'all can let me know. Everyone who's on stream right now, or if you're watching this on YouTube, comment down below who you would want next for the next fraud trial. I'm going to try to do this every single week if possible. If not weekly, bi-weekly. But I'll try to do this as much as I can just to get this new series out. So I appreciate y'all. OD, I'm going to catch y'all next time. And I'm ending the recording.